Mark, we're back with Out of Your League. Hello.
We're back. Hello.
We're wearing the same clothes, if anyone watched the Barry McDermott episode, as we wore for that.
Well, I watched it back and thought I looked really good that episode, so I've worn it again.
Yeah.
Same for you.
Yeah, I didn't think I looked good, but I wore the same clothes.
No coincidence.
Yeah, and we're joined this week by Mark. Before we give his name away, and people will be watching, they'll know exactly who it is. Describe our guest for us this week.
You keep asking me to do this, don't you?
I just like how you got real art for painting pictures with words these days.
I don't know about that. Yeah. He's got a black cap on.
What does PSRC mean, Mark?
You're not supposed to talk.
Don't give yourself away, guest.
He's got a lovely Represent t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Lots of tats, big thighs.
Yeah.
I wish I had big thighs. I don't.
Yeah.
It looks great. It looks trendy.
He's got PSRC on his socks as well, Mark. Is that his company?
What's PSRC?
Just a company that gives some stuff.
Is he? Okay. He's a heavily tattooed man, isn't he, Mark?
Yes.
Heavily tattooed. I mean, there's a lot of tattoos knocking about on this show today, but
you've got some good tattoos. Haven't you?
I've got some awful tattoos.
What have you got?
I've got your name on my arse.
He actually has the letters your name.
Before Steve-O did it on Jackass, I should say.
And you've got Knob on your thigh.
Yeah, that's my grand's name, but she's dead now, but thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Her name wasn't Knob, it was Norma Olive Bond.
Yeah.
But she had Norma Olive Bond on the wall, just Knob, and we were grandkids and we saw it, we're like, she's got Knob on the wall, what an idiot. And then when she died, I thought it was quite cute and got it tattooed down my leg, but now I regret it.
It's quite weird.
Yeah. Anyway, Josh Charnley, welcome.
How are you? Thanks for having me. I'm good. How are you?
You're looking good. Who's done that to your head there? Show me where they are. Let me at them.
I've got quite a few.
What's that? What was that from?
Previous game.
Right.
Warrington.
Yeah.
His hairline looked good as well. Just want to mention that.
Yeah. What are you suggesting, Mark?
No, because there's not that many good hairlines on this podcast. So
yours is flourished over the years.
Mine's average. Yours is going. I just want to give
mine's
a guy a compliment.
Josh, mine's all right for 40,
Thank
isn't it?
you. Yeah.
Mine's all right for 40.
Yeah,
He didn't say yes.
It's okay.
I'll get some drops on it or something. I'm going to Turkey actually in a couple of weeks for the Champions League final, so maybe while I'm out there I might stay a bit longer.
That'd be funny,
yeah. Come back with a new head of hair. Josh, how are you? You in a good place?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
What third all-time try scorer in Super League, Mark? Josh Charnley. Can you name the top and second?
Danny Maguire.
Yeah.
Paul Wellens.
Is that right, Josh? He's got it wrong, hasn't he?
Ryan Hall.
Close, but no cigar.
And he's still going though. Well, Ryan Hall's still going.
Can you get first? Is that in your sights?
Yeah, you're
31. You're a baby,
doable.
Josh.
Yeah, it's doable. It depends how long the body lasts and if I can stay in Super League. So, but yeah, we're ticking away at the minute, and it's just good to keep scoring tries.
You two, you had a little embrace, you had a hug while I went to the toilet.
Former teammates.
That's what I was about to say. Going back to sort of, was it 2010 you were at Wigan together?
No, it was
2009.
I was a 7, 8, 9, and you're quite a bit younger than me. It's about 3 years younger. So we played in the under-21s I think, together, reserves. A bit of reserves. John Wayne was our coach. We had a star-studded team. We had Lee Mossop, Sam Tompkins, Mickey McClorum, Liam Farrell. I was probably the back end of this amazing group of young men that came through at Wigan. And you think you went on loan to Hull KR a little bit?
Yeah.
Was that 2009?
2010.
Was that 10?
Yeah.
And then part of all the success at Wigan for a long time. I'm sure we're going to discuss it in a while. But
what do you remember of a young Mark Flanagan, Josh, back then? He was better looking than he is now.
He's not changed, mate. He's not changed.
Not more weathered, a little bit more weathered, you know.
Yeah.
What were the conversations when you sort of brushing shoulders in the corridors there?
We still had a good crack back then, didn't we?
There was. So with Mickey Mac's a bit of a character, and he was always the one messing around. So there was good banter there, and it's never really changed. I don't think
we had a good. I think Wayne probably instilled it in us. We had a good work hard, play hard mentality where we'd train really tough, we'd batter each other, we'd play hard in games, and then it'd encourage us to form bonds with each other and mateship on a Saturday night on King Street. And I think we all embraced that as much as the rugby. And that was a reason why they were so successful for a long time. They had a lot of young players who came through at the same time who kind of created a great culture at the club.
Was that a tattoo-less Josh Charnley, about 17 years old or something like that? 18 years old? Nothing on you at all?
Yeah,
uninked,
I had quite a
unmarked.
few. Yeah, I was quite young when I had
You were a centre back then, weren't you?
Yeah, I come through I started as a half-back.
Did you?
Yeah, then speaking about Wigan St Pat's, I was at Wigan St Pat's and they didn't see me as an half-back, they saw me as like a wing centre full-back, and from there, Wigan picked me up and I just blossomed as a winger.
What was the first tattoo, incidentally? But I know that you...
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Oh,
tribal. Full tribal on the right bicep.
Tribal's knocking about, isn't there?
That's why we're long sleeves.
Have you thought about the cover-up, going for a full kind of,
Yeah, no, I'll just leave it. It's part of the journey.
Part of the story.
Yeah.
So, you're a Chorley boy, right? I always kind of ask this question because and I know a lot of podcasts do this, but I think they do it for a reason, right? What do we need to know about young Josh Charnley to sort of understand you and where you are now in your 30s? What was that childhood like for you?
Probably mum and dad worked all the time. Had a good lifestyle. You know, it's brought up on a council estate. Went to schools, and then trained as a bricklayer. So on my Thursdays in school, I went to college and did bricklaying, and qualified as a bricklayer. So I've got that as something to fall back on, and just being able to train and work, and it just opens your eyes up to what you've got. You're lucky enough to go to work every day playing rugby, and it's pretty tough. I know at Wigan, I think they still do it at the minute. They still send the young boys out to work just to open their eyes and just to make sure that what they've got is lucky to have, and don't let it go. So
I think there's a lot to be said for that, and like the symbolism of building a wall. I read Will Smith's book before he knocked out Chris Rock. He didn't knock him out, did he? He punched him.
It was a good slap.
Yeah, it was a good slap. And his dad used to make him and his brother build walls, and then he'd like smash them down outside his dad's shop and make them build a wall again, kind of every couple of years.
Yeah, and I think that's more and more important. I don't want to bag the younger generation, but I think there's a lot of entitlement with young people today, especially when you come into a sports club. You get new boots, shakers, kit, well paid. But I think understanding what the other side of life is like, and
let's bang them, Mark. Generation Z is a bunch of wankers.
No, not in all cases, but there is a little bit of an element of it, and I think not taking the opportunities for granted is really important. And if you're a talented young man who's in a rugby league club, I think you've got to take the opportunities you get, because you might not be as lucky if you're not to make a career in it. And I suppose that probably gave you a sense of the opportunity you had.
Yeah, I know my dad's quite punctual. I think I've got that off my dad. Like you say, I'm always early, I'm always on time, and I think it's just going to rub off on. Well, it's rubbed off on me. Hopefully, it'll rub off on my kids as well.
But when you were building the walls, and I just think it's an interesting sort of point to pick up, because you're what, teenager, just into working years, right? Yeah. 15, 16 years old, and you're doing it from means to an end to get some money to go and spend, to go and have some fun, whatever. And as a kid, but when you're building them, are you humble when you're doing it, or are you thinking, what am I doing? I need to do something else.
No, I enjoy it. Because my great grandfather, he was a bricklayer, and it's just probably passed on, and it's just one of those where I like being outdoors, and I get a bit of satisfaction from it.
So come on, paint the picture for us. So mum, dad, happy childhood. Those years before rugby came into your life, what were they like, and what were the dreams? Who were the posters of on the wall? They don't have to be appropriate, Josh. Who were they? Claudia Schiffer, she was a bit too old for you.
Jenna Jameson.
Jennifer Lopez, mate.
Jenna Jameson, did you say?
Sorry, Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, sorry, I thought we can't have Jenna Jameson's name mentioned on the podcast. That was on the VCD.
He's still on my wall.
Yeah.
VCD, I said, yeah. So go on, sorry.
Oh yeah, so quite active. I was quite an active young kid. I played football first, but then
was that the passion, football?
Not really. Just to get out the house. I was probably quite high rated. I can see it in my young kid now. In my eldest, he's like a wasp. He's here, there, and everywhere. And it's probably me that 20, 30 years ago. So,
but did you think, was there ever a point where you thought you could make a career out of football? Because you had the pace, you had, I imagine, the skills.
No, not really. I just did it, and I got sent off in one of the games. And the coach was like, "I don't think it's football's for you."
You rugby tackling everybody,
so, spearing everyone. But no, but it was Jamie Ellis. So where we lived, I lived behind him. He played at a team called Charlie Panthers, and he was like, "Why don't you come train?" So I went down on a Tuesday, and there's a few faces there from my school, and it just...
Because Charlie's not that big, rugby league's not that big in Charlie, is it? Really?
No, not really. They had Charlie Lynx, Lancashire Lynx was there at the time, back in the day.
They were a small club though, weren't they?
Yeah.
What did you love about it then? Because we speak to so many players who remember those days, and I guess you can kind of remember the smells, the sounds, the journey to there, the first training session, your parents picking you up, all that. But what was it that made you fall in love with rugby league as a kid?
Probably just getting my energy out. It's something to focus on and fly around the pitch. There's not a care in the world, are you, when you're that young? You just fly around, you're enjoying it with your mates, and getting a bit of satisfaction out of probably putting your mate on the back and having a bit of banter. But yeah, it's from there I think it just grew, and I was lucky enough to play and get coached by some good coaches at the time, and yeah, the love of the sport just grew, and it's still growing now.
I think it's fair to say, Mark, Josh is one of the best finishers in the game, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that was in you even at that age? Because I know you were saying you were playing halfback. What made you stand out at Chorley Panthers that then St. Pat said, okay, come along here, and then the rest of the career is kind of history? But what did you have in your locker that was different?
I don't know. Probably the speed. I was nippy as when I was younger, and I've put a bit of kg in at the minute. Yeah, so I'm not as fast as I was, but yeah, I was pretty lightning when I was younger, and it's like having no fear. I was fearless. I'd run into anyone. I weren't too bothered about that, and it probably amount to some tries that I scored as an amateur, and yeah, I'm just probably I can't really think I'm.
But were you a try pick? Were you like the Erling Haaland of sort of tries? Is that where the finishing came from? Of just like I want to get the glory. I want to be the one crossing the line.
I don't know. Possibly, I might have been a bit selfish back in the day.
But now you have license to be selfish. Your job is to be selfish, right? Your job is a finisher. That's every team needs one of those, Mark, right?
Yeah, obviously. I think it's like in football. The goal scorers, Alan Shearers, are a little bit selfish because they want to score the goal. They want to they put the pressure on themselves to deliver. And I think great try scorers in rugby league are the same. They've got to back themselves when they're in a certain situation. And when you've got ability and confidence, they're the two key ingredients for that try scoring ability. And Josh is up there with the best couple we've had for the last 10, 20 years in the game.
I know you said you don't want to talk about St. Pat's, but it is still a big part of your journey, right?
Yeah.
So how do you then go from Chorley Panthers to St. Pat's, and who was there, what kind of names, and how much was that a catalyst to get into Wigan Warriors?
Yeah, there was a coach called Billy Halliwell. He was the one who was like, you're not an half-back, you're a full-back. So
he saw that straight away. I wonder why do you think?
I don't know. We'll have to get him on.
Get him on the show.
Get him on Zoom here. It's funny, because he's here now. Billy, thank you.
Yeah, but I don't know what he saw in me. I think it must have just been like the ability of just the pace that I had. But yeah, it was.
And you just accepted it at that stage. You were like,
yeah,
oh, go.
you do. You learn. He's an older person. You listen to what your elders say, and I was just learning off him and carried on. But there were likes of Sam Powell were there, Don Crosby was there, so we had a good little team there. So we clicked, and a few of us managed to get picked up by Wigan and was all on the academy and reserve team together. Do
you remember a moment where you thought, yeah, this is going to be my life now. I'm going to put everything into it, and I'm going to make a career out of it, and I'm going to make as much money as I can.
Not really, no. There was a coach when I was at Wigan, John Pendlebury. Yep. John Pendlebury said to me, "You've never made it. Like, just keep thinking that every day that you've not made it." So I've always had that passion and that drive to think that I've still got to impress. I've still got to do. I've still got to learn, do me extras. I still do them to this day. So yeah, I've still got that hunger in me, and it's probably like saying I'm trying to rub that off onto the younger boys at Leigh. That you've got to keep grinding.
Great coaches can have such a big impact on young players in the start of the career, and I think some advice like that players can really get a grasp of and take with them. And I think it's so important for lads to get the right advice and to get. He would have been mid-50s, 60s. Yeah, he was quite an older coach, wasn't he? And he might not technically have been as astute as some of the younger fellas that were the modern game, but in terms of principles and standards, I remember John being right up there in terms of the habits that you need to have a successful career. Because he played for Great Britain. I think he played Halifax. Yeah, I'm sure he won a Lance Todd Trophy at a Challenge Cup final, and he was tough as anything. So yeah, it's important that young men get that right advice at a young age, and there was full of coaches like that at Wigan at the time.
Well, that advice came late for you, didn't it? Because you had the same sort of thing. Like after 2014, you're not forward, Mark. You're a halfback. After what happened at Old Trafford,
for about 4 weeks, and then they changed.
And then he went back to it. No, I think you are a forward, and then I think you should go to Salford.
Yeah, I think you're a bench player.
Josh is laughing like that one. Yeah. Right. That debut came in 2010, and then you kind of had to, obviously, like a lot of young players do, you had to wait to really sort of establish yourself. What are your memories of that 12, 15-month period at Wigan? Yeah,
there was Pat Richards, Amos Roberts, Cameron Phelps. There was quite a lot of experience in the team there, and I was just learning off them, watching what they do day in, day out. And I think any kid who was coming up through the Wigan system, as soon as they got the opportunity, they'd take it, and they wouldn't look out of place, because everything from first team to academy, you do the same. So it's just, as soon as you got the opportunity to go in, you just got to give it your all. And I waited me time, and Madge came into Wigan and said that I need you to play, but you need to go on loan for a bit. So I went to Blackpool Panthers.
What did you go there for?
Yes, I was there for 3 weeks.
Not far from Charlie.
Yeah, not too bad.
Did you live in Blackpool for those 3 weeks?
I only travel. It
That
was
would've
only.
been
Wait, I think it was only at Wednesday nights we trained.
Fish and chips every night.
Yeah, all the way back.
Big Dipper every day. Donkey, rock.
Good times.
Yeah, so I was at Blackpool for a couple of weeks, and then I got a phone call off Madge saying, listen, because I still trained at Wigan. He said, Hull are interested in you. Would you mind going up there? So I was like, yeah, not a problem. So I went up there. I trained with Wigan Monday to Wednesday. Then I lived with Liam Colburn up there. So
you killed it there, didn't you?
Yeah, I spent 5 weeks up there.
Yeah.
My debut was against Leeds. So I was playing centre. Didn't really play centre for a while. And I played centre against Keith Senior, yeah.
But your try scoring record, and I kind of answered my own question about the truffles and you being a try pig, because you were, right? And I think, correct me if my numbers are wrong, but 172 games I think you played for Wigan, and you scored 164 tries. I mean, that's some return, John.
It's nearly as good as me, though.
Does it wear off, like the feeling of scoring a try, and from your first 10 and 20 and 30, into the hundreds, and still now when you're doing it in your early 30s?
Yeah, I still like doing it. I still like seeing my name on the score sheet. It's like I say, it's my job to score tries. I'm a winger, and there's a lot of other things that wingers do, but finishing off the players that we're putting on and getting over the whitewash, it's good touch.
Those names that you mentioned, the grounding that you had at Wigan, and like you spent some fantastic and some really successful years there, but the Pat Richards, the Sam Tompkins, the Sean O'Loughlin's, what did they kind of instill in you as in a young Josh Charnley? They
kept everyone grounded. I know there's, like say, you're all together. The togetherness there was probably the best I've had, but at the minute I'm at Leigh, it's on a different level. The togetherness we've got, the brotherhood that Lammy's putting in there. But going back to Wigan, there was just everyone worked hard. There was that mentality where you work hard, you play hard, and you get the reward off the back of it. And everyone just ripped in. There was no backward steps being taken in training, and it proved that in the games that why Wigan was so successful. So, being a part of that team and learning off likes of, Lockers was so good, and with Pat Richards, he'd take his time out to speak to us, me, Steph Marsh. There was a few other younger boys who were coming through it. He'd take his time out just to guide us and put his touches into us, and I'm very privileged of that.
Why do you think, Mark, they were so successful? I mean, Josh was there for 6 years, from 10 to 16.
Yeah.
A lot of silverware.
I left just before Madge arrived, but from the outside looking in, I got the impression it was quite a flat structure. Didn't seem to be a big hierarchy of senior players, captain, all the way down to lower players. It seemed to be everyone was quite similar on the same level. There's no egos. It was all about working hard and everyone spending time together. And mentioned Sean O'Loughlin, one of the best players I've played against and with. I think he was made captain at probably 24, 25. He was quite a young man when he was made captain. And I think having a young man as a leader who could add links to the younger players was really key, because it was just a very, very together club where everyone ripped in together, and giving trust to the younger players is important as well. And like Sam, when he came through, he was given a lot of trust. Faz, Mossop, a lot of trust was given to the young men rather than just teaching from above and having the senior players lead. And it's the success that Wigan had during those years was brilliant. And I think in 2010 and 11 they changed the way the game was played. Yeah, the style of rugby defensively and in attack was very different than they'd been seen for a long time. 10, 13, 16, you won Super League. So like your first season as a pro, like you win the biggest prize, right? You then added the Challenge Cup in 11 and 13. So you won absolutely everything. When you think back to those great Wigan teams that you played in, what was the one, not necessarily the best Wigan side, but the one that you're most fond of? Because it evolved over 6 years, didn't it?
Yeah, probably my debut year. Being lucky enough to get the opportunity to play, making the debut for my hometown, and having that trust from the lads and from the coaches, to go out there and do the job. So probably 2010, 2011 was, my favourite years. But like I say, I'm lucky enough to still be playing it, and I'm really enjoying it now still. But
do you take that for sort of granted? Does it change you in the sense that my first year as a pro, I've won it? Does that take any hunger away at all?
No, you want it again. As soon as you get the success of silverware, you want it every year. And Flash have been lucky enough to win it, and the being a part of you know, your mates working day in, day out hard as to, you know, to get that silverware. That's what you want, and, you know, that's what you get paid to do.
And 2016 as well, I'm thinking, you know, scoring that try in the grand final. What were the emotions in your last game there?
Yeah, very high. You know, I was leaving my team to, you know, try a different challenge, and, you know, I was lucky enough to score in the final, and yeah, it hit home. I got goosebumps straight away. It was probably one of those tries where I'll probably never forget.
A big part of your story, Josh, is obviously going to Sale Sharks, right? And you knew we were going to talk about this, and going over to rugby union. To sort of rewind to the point where that became a thing, and then you knew it was going to happen.
I just wanted a change. It was one of those where, you know, I've been lucky enough to be at Wigan, and I was driving every day the same route, going home the same way, and it was just like I needed to challenge myself. And, you know, rugby union was showed a bit of interest, and I was like umming and ahhing into my missus, my family. I didn't really tell anyone. I kept it quite close because I hold things close to my chest and not really tell people. So I didn't really tell them for like a few weeks that I might be leaving. So I was going up. I was finishing training. I was driving up to the Lake District just for like an hour or two, just to get away from.
Just to think.
Just to think, yeah, and just to get away. It was just one of those where I was like to the missus, I'll speak to you in a bit. Buff, the phone was off, and I'd go, yeah, just to clear my mind. It's one of those. It was a massive decision for me, and you know, I've been lucky enough to, you know, play in that team, and, you know, I could have stayed there and won more silverware, but there was something in me that I wanted to test myself, and never played rugby union before, new mates. It was just all ticking boxes for me, and you know, I was up in the Lake District, and I made a decision on the way back that I was going to leave Wigan.
Did you get out the car, or did you get on a boat in Ambleside and go around the river?
I think a few roundabouts for about an hour.
I pulled over in a lay-by, and I was just like, right, I'm going to do it.
That's a long way to go just to pull over a lay-by and drive back. You didn't get out for a nice hike or something?
Yeah, I went up to Coniston.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Lovely, old man.
Yeah, I love it up Coniston. So, yeah, and then I was driving back, and I just literally pulled in. I thought, you know, I'm going to do it. So then I rung my agent. I was like, yep, let's get the ball rolling.
Was there any opportunities to go to union prior to that? Because I remember there was rumours for a while, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was quite. I think it was 2014.
They
was interested in me. It was Harlequins.
Yeah.
But because I was at such a high with being in such a good team, I was like, no, I'm not leaving. But then, you know, a little bit older you get, opportunities come around, and you think, am I going to be too old to take this opportunity again? But
winning silverware can't be boring, right? Because
no,
a lot of people would say, well, why would you want to leave a winning machine like that?
Yeah, but I just needed to test myself. One of those where something comes along, I'll try it. So, yeah, I'm glad I did it. I'd have regretted it if I said no and not tried it.
Is that the kind of person you are? Just before we even talk about Sale, that you quite introspective in that sense, that you need that time to yourself, and I find that was quite a therapeutic experience. But do you do that? Have you done that throughout your career?
Yeah, I do get away. I like fishing. I like going away fishing. I like turning my phone off. Yeah, I like being peaceful. I don't like getting nagged or. I know it's.
Is that from your wife or just people?
Yeah, no, she's good to be fair. But yeah, I like my own space. I don't know if that's just because life's so hectic. You're bashing each other day in, day out. You're with your mates all the time. It's just that time where you can just go switch off, not think about what you're going to be doing the day after or what you got to do. It's just
a reset when you do that.
Yeah, it is. It's just my time where I can go, all right, shoulders are down, relax, have a coffee.
Because not everyone likes that, and some people can't handle their own thoughts on too much. I mean, you don't get that because you go back and you got kids and your missus there and whatever. But your own silence can be quite powerful at times, right?
Yeah, to be fair, I've done it all the way through my career. I've always liked my own space. I used to go up to a farm and just sit on hay bales at the farm near me where I lived. Just
watch all the cows.
The farmer, just let me do it. I used to help him out with lambing.
Someone like security alarms go up. No, this is Josh. It's
Josh.
Sorry, so
stroking a pig.
three
so did Josh driving tractor. Yeah, but no, he used to let me go up there, and it was just somewhere I could get away from. It was only 10 minutes. It was only at Rivington, so it was only 10 minutes from where I lived. But it was just so peaceful. You was up high, looking out. There were no one in fields. I'd just go around driving a little tractor, just checking out
lovely
sheep.
up the pike.
Yeah.
Up the pike.
Yeah, so like I say, I've always been probably like a bit of a solo person away from rugby.
I think it's really important that for people to like have time to gain some perspective in their life. You can get bogged down in like social media or irrelevant stuff, what's happening on the telly or whatever. I think that a few moments in your week of having a bit of serenity, a bit of time, a bit of peace and quiet is really key, and it lets you probably prioritise what's going on in your life.
Has that ever made people sort of misunderstand you then? They think you're a bit different and whatever? Because, not everyone is like that.
No, at the beginning of me and my missing relationship, she thought I was seeing someone else. She did.
She's following you to the farm.
Yeah,
she's just a pig down the farm.
Why do you keep turning your phone off? And I was like, listen, it's just who I am, what I do. And then, I still do it now. I'll still go home and turn my phone off.
I bet you're a better husband and dad after you've done that, though, aren't you?
Yeah, because you don't need it. You don't need your phone. Like I only go on it now just to check what time I'm in it morning for a bit of treatment. No, but yeah, it's one of those where you can just go home. You can spend more time with your kids. The phone will come out the drawer when the kids are in bed, and it's just one of those where you're not glued to it. You miss so much of your day scrolling through your phone. I just like to say, I don't know if it's just me or the way I've been brought up. I just like to come back down to earth.
I find that really interesting because I'm in exactly the same camp. I don't have any distractions, wife, kids or whatever, but we are a generation, even so I'm in a different generation to you, 10 years older than you, but at 31 I find interesting someone talks like that, because you just see people head down in phones, and if you've got then kids running around and then a phone, you would never have any time to be introspective or to think about things, and they have completely taken over our lives. I hear people now who have like Wi-Fi routers that turn off at 10 o'clock at night, so you actually can't go on. Obviously you can on a phone but you can't on your iPad or your laptop go online. It feels like we actually have to make sort of interventions, otherwise we are going to be completely absorbed. And where are we going to be in 10 years with this like piece of glass? 10, is that 10 inches, Mark? 10 inches. This sort of 10-inch piece. Someone told me that was 10 inches. No, I'm pretty sure it's 10 inches. Wow. But where are we going to be without these things? I know. We're in a better place, right?
I'm hoping it'll go full circle and we'll be a bit more like Josh.
That was it.
Yeah, but I hope that's the case, whereas we kind of we thrive human interaction rather than interaction on a digital tablet.
But have you noticed that because you only retired a couple of years ago, Mark, have you noticed that in dressing rooms? Have you noticed that we're just like and within sports organisations, everyone's overstimulated. Everyone is obsessed with the phone and obsessed with the social media side of things. Yeah,
I remember when I was at Warrington, a few of the young kids, they wanted blue ticks. They were trying everything just to get a blue tick, it's crazy.
Name names.
No, I can't.
Blue tick dick, it's powerful stuff.
Is it? Is that what you get? Is that what you chase?
But now you can buy a blue tick, right? Which makes the world even more.
The whole idea of wanting validation from a social media company to feel some kind of worth is ridiculous.
But it's the same thing as buying the trainers that you see on someone that you really like down the road.
I know, but it's when you think about it, it's ridiculous.
Of course, kids these days, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the society and what's important. But no one should really give a shit.
But that's why I don't know. We've gone down this route, but I like it. But so there's so much kind of undiagnosed ADHD and all this stuff because people's attention spans are so short because of what they're being faced. Mark is one of them, and he's in my generation. But because of how they consume media on their phones, people can only last. This is not the route we're going. I can only last a few seconds. Not in that way. It's true though, isn't it, Mark? You see it. See it in business, see it in sport. Anyway, back to rugby union. So Sale Sharks, this comes along. Yep. You're a Chorley boy. Let's get all the cliches out of the way. You're looking at me and you're listening to me talk. Josh, I can see it. You're thinking, who's this posh fucking wanker? Why is he asking me these questions?
I'm thinking that as well.
Yeah, and you've known me a couple of decades, not as long as that. What was it like that first day that you walked into Carrington at Sale and had a chat with people who, without sweepingly generalising, were from different backgrounds?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was, the different nationalities there, the different cultures. It was good just, go in and learn new friendships, learn new habits, what people are up to. And, there was two, when I signed there, my nan said, there's two distant cousins who were there, Tom and Ben Curry.
Are they distant cousins of yours?
Yeah, so they're on my family tree.
Really?
So when I went in, I just terrorised them too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But no, it was good.
Did they know they were distant cousins? Because you are from Chorley.
Are they from like Lancaster?
They're from Nantwich.
Nantwich. Was that south?
Yeah, it's like Cheshire way.
There's Sandbach and stuff down there,
Yeah, so they're on the family tree. So it was just one of those where there was a few Wigan boys there, to be fair. There was Mike Forshaw with there, Paul Deacon with there. So
Was Matt Pete there? A bit
no,
later?
Matt Pete, when I signed at Warrington, he went that year.
Okay, right.
So yeah, there was a few Wiganers there, and it felt like home a little bit. You know, I was in there. I was like a new boy in school. You know, trying to make mates, and
They steal your lunch money?
yeah.
Did you feel like it could be
Russians
for you?
got
Was there ever a point you just wanted to turn around in the Carrington car park and be like, I'm back to league? You know,
Nah.
No. You did feel kind of at home then? Because I know a lot of people that we've spoken to, George Ford as well, Mark, obviously he's had a northern and a league upbringing and then spent his life in Union. But he's illustrated there are major differences in terms of socialising and so on and the type of people that
They said...
But we're talking about Sale in the north. We're not talking about.
They're different backgrounds, but they're still the same kind of people at heart.
Yeah.
That's the rugby union lads I know. They're still blokes, still laugh at the same stuff. They still train the same way. They still like socialising. It's just they're from a different part of the world, and that's it, really.
Yeah. I got them all into Wigan Pier.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I brought them in.
Did you?
Is Wigan Pier still a thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Put a donk on.
When you
it.
say you got them into Wigan Pier,
so it was my time in the gym. So every other week there was a new ball got played on the speaker, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put some Wigan Pier on. So I put MC Finch on, and I'm not kidding you. I still get videos now of the lads in the gym with.
Or do they still put it on?
They still put it on. So
respect.
There's me thinking you took Steve Diamond down to Wigan Pier, like actually got them into.
Nah,
Wigan
they'd love
Pier.
it.
Yeah,
they love it. Yeah.
Wow, they was thinking, who's this Charlie boy's coming with his Wigan
full
Pier?
of tats, just bouncing around the place.
All these new tunes.
Yeah, they love it. But like I said, they still play it now. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of me still left there.
In terms of the game, Union, had you had any experience at that point?
No.
How did they think it was going to work, and how did you think it was going to work on the pitch?
I thought it was going to be easy. To be fair, I didn't find it too hard. It was just the rules that played with me a little bit.
It's the subtleties in Union that.
Yeah, so like the small, like, so I thought I got a turnover once, I give away a penalty. So I was like, because I didn't release, I just banged him, and then you're meant to like let go to get over the ball.
Yeah.
Where I just hit him and boom flopped on the ball. I was like, yes, you went,
High fives.
no, it's against you. I was like,
But had they not sent you the sort of the dummies guide to 15 aside or something before?
yeah,
Like,
they did put, in the moment you think, you don't really think that you boom, you're like that quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was lucky enough to play a few games, and played a few reserve games. It was just,
They have massive squads, don't they, as well?
yeah. I think
So there's
like
lots of.
48 lads in the team at the time.
So as good as you were in league and then trying Union, there's lots of other good wingers that's fine for competition. So if in a particular game you give a penalty away like that, or you might miss a move or something because of your inexperience in the game, you'll be out the next week.
Yeah.
And some other highly talented player will be in.
Yeah, because they had international wingers as well in the team, so it was one of those where I was still learning the game, but then they had like Marlon Yard, who was international, and James O'Connor could play on the wing. Who was
Dennis Solomon.
Denny was there. Yeah,
That's a good name. I mean, they have always had some good names, Sal, haven't they? But
Yeah,
even
so
now.
it was one of those where it was, if I did anything wrong, you're back to cleaning the corns and washing people's boots.
So whose idea was it from a sales side of things? Was it Steve Diamond who said, let's go and get Charnley? I know I can make this work.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Deeks. I think Deeks had a bit of a say on it as well. So it was just one of those where the opportunity come, and I'm glad I took it, because I've met some mates for life, and it's one of those where I won't look back and regret what I've done.
What was your relationship with Steve Diamond like?
Quite hard. He's quite a hard-faced bloke. Says it how it is. It's one of those. Well, he's a coach, and he wants best for his team, and it's probably one of those where I didn't really get much time with him, because he was director, so he obviously in everything. So but the relationship with Deeks and Forsh was like no other. I was with them all the time trying to learn, and it was more the players really who try and coach me into playing. It was Forsh and Deeks would tell me a bit of a guideline of it all. Dimes would just say, right, you need to be this, and then I'd be like learning off James O'Connor and Mike Haley, who were the fullbacks there, who just, put me in place. And
Was Brian Redpath there as well, the head coach? No, it was before, I think. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Was that frustrating to not have a relationship with the head coach when you're probably the player most in need to be taught and to kind of understand and want to learn the coach's thoughts?
I don't know. I didn't really see it any different. I'd just been there, just been chucked in. It was like, learn the code. I know it's not really much different. You're only playing with 2 extra men, aren't you? And it was just one of those where I thought I could probably get away with playing. And the games I played in, I enjoyed it. It was good. There was one game I played though. I didn't touch ball.
You know,
80 minutes.
you didn't touch the ball for 80 minutes.
How does that work though for someone who's
I was just running everywhere. It was just a forwards game. It was scrimmaging, just forwards bashing each other. Yeah, one game I played.
You did make a tackle at least.
No, I just run everywhere. But
You
good
did
for
make
the
a
body.
tackle. Yeah, you felt $1 million
Felt
after.
unreal, yeah,
But that must have been frustrating in terms of when we talk about numbers, and I know because you're like a goal scorer in football. You build your career on numbers, right?
Yeah.
164 tries in 172 games, whatever, at Wigan, and then suddenly I think it's 4 in 30 odd appearances for South Sharks. You're watching other people in the team as well. You must have been thinking this is not what I do.
But you see in the game, you think when you review your game, you're like, it's a 1v1 there. Give me that. And they're like, if you get turned over there, it's like, but I'll burn him. Like, but they didn't really see it in me. Like,
so they didn't play to your strengths.
No, where you think a league, you're going into uni, and you think there's that much space, play with it. But they don't see that. They want to play when there's people around you. So
is it too risk averse? Like they don't want to take those risks because they're thinking of the bigger picture.
Yeah,
rather
if you get
than
turned
league.
over, your possession. It's all about possession, isn't it? So yeah, but my mindset was like, there's a 2v1, take that, like. But they were like, no, we're going to play back into the middle and kick long, play short, like.
Is that because when I read that you said your overall time that you're glad you did it, but you didn't feel invested in? Is that what you mean when you think that they didn't get the best out of you and they didn't really listen to how you could have scored more tries?
Yeah, it was one of those, what you say, where you didn't really get much from them. It was just one of those where you went out, you trained, and I felt like I was just one of the squad players, but where I needed to probably be pulled aside. Listen, don't go in that. Just watch how it's being ran. And yeah, it was. I like to say it was frustrating, but I did learn like from the players and from Deeks and Forsh.
Was the idea when you went there, and be honest, to when you'd seen obviously Jason Robinson, Andy Farrell, you've seen players that had switched codes and actually had made a huge impact on the national team as well. Was the idea to be playing at Twickenham?
Yeah, I wanted to be a dual player. I wanted to play, for England, for league and union, but it weren't possible.
Yeah, but because you're a confident lad and you've always backed yourself, and I'm not saying is that a regret, but that's the one thing really on an amazing career that you thought that you could and probably should have had that, right? And it might have worked at, who knows, it might have worked at Leicester Tigers, or it might have worked at another rugby union club.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think it was my last game. I got man at match. I played really well.
I watched that game.
Yeah, against London Irish it was. And then since then I just didn't get picked, and he was just saying there's more international players. I didn't know if in the game you got paid more if you played more internationals. I don't know if that's a rule or not. But one of the players said, I think if you play more internationals, you get more money.
Yeah,
at the time, because I weren't international, they'll play more international players. So it was just one of those where I went in, I said to him, what's happening? And he was just like, I need to play. I was like, I think I'm going to go.
Were you missing league at that stage?
Yeah. Just because I thought, my mindset then was like, I'm missing out on silverware. I'm missing out on, enjoying it a little bit, because at the time I was just training for 9 weeks before that. I was just going in training, lifting weights, doing Bronco tests, and then going home, But then I was just going home. I weren't myself, and I said to the missus, I said, I think I'm gonna jack. And she was like,
was there a trip to the Lake District or the Peak District? Where did you make this
No.
decision? This one?
It's quick one.
just Trafford Centre.
Trafford Centre. Top tree golf.
Careers are too short to not enjoy playing and be a quality player on the sideline. I remember speaking to Sam Burgess after his year in Union, and he played in the World Cup. He got a load of shit in the press, and then he said he came back. He had a few dramas with the coaching staff and the club, and he played a game, and he must have touched the ball a couple of times, made a few tackles, and he looked at himself and said, "What are you doing? You're getting paid well, but you're probably getting paid well in the league as well.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're not enjoying it, and you're trying to prove people wrong that you can make it in this game. Well, why are you trying to prove people wrong?
You were scapegoated big time as well.
Yeah, he was scapegoated, but he was like, he wanted to prove the press wrong, but he's like, why? He's not enjoying it. It doesn't get him going. And no doubt if he carried on playing Union, he would have made a success of it, like Josh probably did if he'd been at a club that given him opportunities. But you can try proving people wrong and make a statement, or you can do what you love, which suits your game, which is what Josh did when he came back and what Sam did when he came back.
But what's the answer then? It's ego, it's pride.
Yeah, it's ego and pride, yeah. Or
Yeah.
you can just do what you love and just not listen to outside noise and just concentrate on your life, your career, and make the best of it.
It's easier said than done not listening to outside noise, though, isn't it? Because you got nowhere near sort of what Sam got, and because he obviously played at Twickenham in a World Cup, and Stuart had a few things to say about him, and Rob Andrew did as well. But did you read anything? Social media was obviously rising at this stage as well. Did you hear any of that noise?
No, I tend to stay away from social media. As long as I'll put some on, boom, don't leave it. I don't read any comments. Just try and stay away from it. You're easy to get at, and you're on Twitter. Yeah. Or
did you want to prove Steve Diamond wrong and the club that you were better than playing every other week and that you could make a massive success of it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I weren't that bitter that I weren't playing. I just wanted to play, because I think I was a league coming in. I don't know if I could have gone on loan, because I was asking to go on loan, but they was like, you can't. So I don't know if there was something in the clause, because I'm an outsider.
Back to Hull KR and get some games.
Yeah, back to Blackpool. I got fouled. Yeah, but no, but it was just one of those where I just had to think about me as a rugby league player. I was devaluing, not being in the circle or playing or, being around a team that, are striding to silverware. It just one of those where I thought, right, I need to, I'm not enjoying it. I want to, get back smiling again.
So are you that type of person then that you can move on quite quickly? You don't look back in anger. You don't regret that period in your life. You don't think like, what if, woulda, shoulda, coulda and all that.
No, as soon as it's done, new page opens, I'm onto that.
And how did that come about then, the move back to league? And obviously with Warrington, did you have to have an honest conversation with the guys at Sale? Because you still had a contract, right?
Yeah, I still had a contract. No, I think literally Warrington, rung my agent rung me. I was fishing at the time. He went,
shock.
Yeah, shock. He
Alone?
went, mate, I've got a deal here for you. I was like, yeah. He was like, Warrington are interested. That was a Thursday, that was.
To be fair, living where you live, you couldn't go back to a better club, really, could you?
No.
Because I knew going back to Wigan would have been good, but I suppose I always think it's better to start a new journey, a new chapter.
Yeah, well, in my deal, so Wigan had the first said, like a clause. So if I wanted to come back to rugby league, they could have said, yeah, we want you or not. So we rung Rads, and Rads was like, we've got Don Manfredi, Joe Burgess, Liam Marshall coming through. Like, we don't need another winger. So Warrington come in, and it was like, let's do it.
But given what had happened at Sale, how sort of determined were you to make sure that you picked the right club? Because at this point, I'm not saying you wasted some great years, but you were sort of mid-20s when you were in your peak as a player.
Yeah.
And this next move had to be right for you, didn't it?
Yeah, I just wanted to, get back playing again, and meeting with, Simon Moran and Steve Price at the time. It felt right.
Was it all the free concert tickets and stuff that Simon could offer and all the gigs and things?
Yeah,
that was
I've heard about that. No, but
Warrington's a perfect club.
Yeah, it were one of those where they were striving for silverware. They were pushing for, I had a few mates there as well, which made it a little bit easy for me to transition back to rugby league. And
Mark, did you tell Simon Moran to sign Josh? Because every player that you've mentioned, Ben Murdoch, Masilla, other players, Simon's gone to sign. Are you a close sort of friend of his?
No, not really close. We're very acquaintances, yeah. But for Josh, it's a big club. It's near where he lives. It's not St Helens, which is a big rival.
Yeah,
they've always spent big and been a professional club off the field, playing in front of good crowds, great stadium. Would have been a no-brainer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, the meeting we had were really good. Like I said, we met Simon at his offices, me and my missus, and it just felt right. When you leave a meeting and you think, yeah, that felt right. We got in the car. I was like, yeah, we'll go ahead.
And what was that like then? That first time that you whipped on the Warrington shirt, Halliwell Jones. How many tries did you get on your debut? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know.
You scored though, didn't you?
Yeah,
I remember watching.
I think it was against Widnes.
But did that suddenly feel like, what?
Yeah,
what am I doing? I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. There
was no readjustment, was there?
I'm still getting my head round a full game with not touching the ball and not making a tackle.
Yeah, when I tell people that, you're like, how? I'm like, I don't know.
But even the Sale fans must have thought as well, like, you've gone back and, I don't know, we can get onto this later, like falling out of love with sport or the game or life a little bit, whatever, because you weren't performing to your potential. But then even the Sale Sharks fans must have been watching that first Warrington game or that first season, they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
He's seamlessly just gone back to his Wigan levels.
Yeah, it's just one of those where, like I was saying before, where you see space and you think, I need the ball here, but you didn't get it. It was just the structures that you have in league to union to leagues way different.
Chalk and cheese, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was the perfect move for you, and you had 4 years at Warrington.
Yeah.
what memories of being back in league and those 4 years of getting to major finals again, and did that make you fall in love with league and not just with league but with sport in your life again?
Yeah, it was it was something fresh going into Warrington with the fans being as passionate as they are, the owners being passionate. The team was together, and we managed to get to the grand final that first year in 2018, and it were. We were building something good there as a club. So, yeah, it was good to be a part of.
Grand final in 2018, I remember being in the little dugout for that one, and 2019 Challenge Cup, which you won. But should that Warrington team have achieved more?
They say that every year, don't they? It's always a year. But, yeah, I think 2018 was a good stamp to go at it. I fell a bit short, and, they've always signed well, Warrington. Like I say, they've always got it there for the good players, and the togetherness there was good. It was, like you say, we just fell short on the day.
They were a really good team, a really great set of players.
Yeah, very talented
setup. But that's always something that's thrown. It's a sort of cliched argument that they didn't capitalise on silverware that they should have won.
Yeah, unfortunately in the league they've always been the nearly team. And in the cup, they've won the Challenge Cup a few times. It was interesting what Josh said then. When we mentioned Wigan and Leigh, you would really wax lyrical about the brotherhood, the togetherness, the camaraderie. And then you said about Warrington, it was good.
Yeah.
Was it like 7, 8 out of 10, and then Wigan and Leigh's probably 9, 10 out of 10 in terms of that off the field mateship?
No, we had that at Warrington. We were lucky enough to have concert tickets. Everyone stayed together, but I think just within the training, it weren't as physical as what we've been at Wigan.
So you didn't train as hard, or standards at the training ground probably were what you were used to at Wigan.
They were still high, but not as probably what I'm known as from being a 16-year-old lad.
And that can be the difference, because as we know, there's such fine margins in sport, and if you're playing against a Wigan or a Leeds or a Saints in a final, and they're absolutely on it every day. They come in, they whack each other, they train hard in the gym, they run hard on the field. That difference between being pretty consistent and being on it every day, that tells in a big match.
Yeah.
And it is, especially after a long season when, say you're showing form at arguably the wrong time of the season when it comes to the business end and you're into sort of playoff games. And Warrington lost a lot of playoff games while you were there, didn't you? What do you, and this is not my opinion at all, but what do you make of sort of the tags of, in sport in general, of bottle jobs? And you can look at it in football now with Arsenal and people having leads, and when you're expected to do something, you can't just maintain form for a 10-month period, can you? It's gonna dwindle at some point. But it seemed to happen at the key stages for Warrington.
Yeah, just saying got down to like the final bit of the piece, and it just break on us. So
what is that? Why does that happen in a club?
Probably white noise. So always Warrington's year. It was always thrown about. We were playing some good rugby at the time, and the players we had were on form. It was just getting to the final details in the game, and things are going wrong for them. We were putting the ball down in wrong places, and just like fine margins that had just make us crack a little bit, and other teams would capitalise on our errors and mistakes. So
it's hard not to listen to that noise. I mean, we talked about outside noise before, but collectively as a group, because that's the coach's job, right? Isn't it, to just make sure that? And I know it's easier said than done. Mark, you've been in those dressing rooms where it's like, don't listen to that outside noise, but it's impossible, isn't it?
It can be like a self-fulfilling prophecy that you hear that much that you always bottle it, and then you're in the situation when something doesn't go your way. I think there is an element of subconsciously, you tell yourself that, oh yeah, we do always bottle it. Yeah. You can try and convince yourself over and over, but if it keeps happening year in, year out, there could be an element of that, that noise kind of coming true.
So it becomes contagious.
Yeah, and I think it's important to have in those big games, and to have great leadership in your key positions, because your halves and your nine probably bring you home in those matches, because your forwards always rip in, outside backs always take their opportunities. But I think that great half-backs can steer a team around the park and make those really important key decisions that can make the difference between winning and losing. And I'm a bit dubious to whether during that period Warrington might have had that in the key positions.
Yeah.
So in terms of leaving Warrington, Josh, what was that like for you? Was that something that you were sort of open to? And again, a new challenge. Darryl Powell came in, didn't he? And you were, I remember you were playing pretty well, right, at the beginning of the season. But you weren't for him, he wasn't for you. How did that decision come about to leave Halliwell Jones?
I think it was. I don't think I did anything wrong. I was training the house down. I was a new coach, brought a new system in. I really enjoyed the way he put the plan to the lads, and I think I played 6 games. I got banned for a trip, which wasn't a trip, but I got banned for it. And then ever since that, he just didn't see eye to eye with me, and that was it.
So that was the catalyst. That was the incident.
Yeah,
that sort
near
of
enough.
sparked
Yeah.
It wasn't a personality thing at the beginning.
I don't know what he's thought of me. Or he must have seen something in me that he didn't like, or he just didn't have his head that I was a player for him.
Do you think you were a scapegoat because the team wasn't playing well? He had to make changes. He had to bring in probably youth and some fresh legs. Do you think you were an easy target because you were a bit older and
possibly, in my last year as well.
Yeah.
So it might have been.
But you were still only 28, 29?
29, yeah.
But with still plenty of miles on the clock. I'm always interested in that because it happens in any walk of life with a boss, doesn't it? If for some reason we're not all supposed to get on, that would be quite a weird world if we all did. Maybe it would be an amazing world, Mark. We'll never know. And you would have had that as well. People that just aren't having you, you're kind of giving your full self to them and you're performing on the pitch, but they've got other ideas, right?
It can be really frustrating because you live and die by one person's decisions, and that's the head coach. And no matter how well you play or train, if you're not in his plans, you're not in his plans. And I think having achieved all that Josh has achieved in his career, that must have been pretty tough to take, not being picked and probably out of favour when you might not have think you deserved it.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really do anything wrong. We just didn't really see eye to eye. That was probably the biggest thing. And
did he want you to explain that incident? Because it obviously built from that one point that he couldn't get over that, right? Most coaches would be like, that's behind us, next week, whenever you're back from your ban, let's go again.
No. Quite.
I feel like there's something Josh isn't telling us, Mark. I don't know, he's sort of got a glint in his eye.
It's just probably one of those, but I don't get, so I can't really explain what.
Because you don't really understand what happened there,
yeah,
right?
No.
Is that somewhat harder that you don't know what happened? Or you don't know what you did wrong not to play? Is that harder in some ways than knowing exactly what someone thinks?
You're thinking, what have I done? Yeah. Is it me? Is it...
You overthink it.
Yeah,
right?
I overthink, but...
No, but I completely understand that. I mean, even in my walk of life, I've had that where, on TV, you're not getting a certain show, you're not getting this gig, you're not getting a new contract, whatever. And even though you think you're performing and you're in the peak of your years and whatever, you feel like you've sort of reversed over someone's dog in the car park, right? You don't know what, and you want an explanation, and you feel like even to sort of heal is the wrong way of putting it, but to move on, you need an explanation, yeah?
Yeah. No, I didn't get anything like that. So it is a bit frustrating, but I enjoyed my time there. It was just one of those where, I created some memories with the boys, and it was good that, I got an opportunity to open another door.
But that ended up, and be honest, Josh, was it the toughest point of your career, kind of off the pitch as well? It put you in a bit of a dark place?
Yeah, just because I've gone from being so high and coming in and not knowing what I was doing that day. You're going home, you're just feeling a little bit deflated. And
you feel worthless, don't you?
Yeah.
I've had it in my career where I've not been picked and where I think I've deserved it. And as a senior player who's done quite a bit in the game, you feel like you can't contribute, and then off the field, because you're so invested in your job, you do feel a bit worthless, and you do probably kick stones a little bit and don't feel good about it.
It feels strange, really, to think that a 29, 30-year-old Josh Charnley there was thinking about retiring, because that's exactly what you were going to do, yeah?
Yeah, I was going to hang up the boots and get the trial out.
Really? It had come to that?
Yeah, it was just one of those where I didn't want to do it. It was one of those where I just felt I was going in just to train, and that was it. Nothing. I weren't getting any accolades, or I weren't getting much from my day, if you know what I mean. I was just literally going in, lifting weights, playing against the team, and then going home.
And that's something that you'd contemplated, going back to the building site, kind of back to square one. That's quite a depressing way of sort of giving everything that you've given to the game.
Yeah, it was.
So how tough was it? And I'm not trying to sort of delve into things that you don't want to tell us.
No, it's fine.
But was it a sort of testing period, mental health wise as well?
Yeah, it's just because I've been looking at playing some teams, and you think, why now? Why is it happening now? Well, I've got so much to give, and you're not getting anything from where you're at. So it was one of those where I thought, do I just bite the bullet now and, you know, start a new life?
And who did you have around you at this stage? Obviously, you know, you got the support of your missus and the family and so on, but who was it who convinced you and said, like, Josh, no, you've got more to give?
My agents, you know, my friends, like I say, I'm quite tight. I don't really tell many people. I'm like, so my mum and dad didn't know that I was going through all this. So it was one of those where I kept it bottled up. But yeah, my missus knew, my agent knew, and it was just one of those where, and Sam Tompkins as well. Sam Tompkins was quite big. I can tell Sam anything, and I know he won't tell anyone. And Sam we had some phone calls. He's like, listen, mate, you've still got shitloads to give. Like, you don't do this. And it was one of those where, yeah, I don't think if Sam weren't there, I probably would have jacked in.
I love that, because you need people like that, right? Whether they're friends or just people that can identify that this shouldn't be happening and you shouldn't be going down. But had your confidence taken a massive knock?
I think so. Yeah, I weren't the player. I weren't the person I was. It was one of those where you say I felt worthless. I was going in, not being up on the team, playing. You want to play every week, you know. It's your job.
Pride takes a massive hit, doesn't it?
And then you start going into social media. You searching your name. What's Josh Charnley?
Oh, you went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. So then I was in a hole. I was like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, I can't be looking at social media. I can't be. So that's why I was like, right, I'm done. I'm done.
Really? It's such an addictive thing to do. It's a self-sabotage, right? It's a self-harm. You know you shouldn't be doing it, but it gives you some weird little kick by doing it, and then makes you sort of have a gut-wrenching feeling in your stomach. I wonder why guys do that, and like why you do that, because so many guys will be listening to this and thinking, I do exactly the same thing. They may still be building walls as bricklayers, but bottling things. Yeah. It's not healthy. Eventually, you have to blow your top in some way, right?
Yeah, you've got to. I do. I mean, I probably had a massive cry with my missus. You know, it's one of those where I was like, I'm done. Like, Josh Charnley's no longer a brand. It was one of those where I was like, right, get my tool belt out. I'm ready. I was focused, and my mindset had just changed. Like, I was like, right, I'm gonna go into bricklaying and change, hang the boots up, get the towel out.
Because that's the crazy thing as well. In other sports, even if you wanted to retire Kevin De Bruyne wants to retire at 31, he retires and he doesn't do a single day, sits on a yacht for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know, let's put this into some sort of perspective for everyone listening, that you wouldn't be able to be in a position like that, even though you've been at the top of that game for years. Yeah, you need to earn, right? You've got to pay the mortgage. The mortgage isn't going to pay itself in July.
No, I still got to go out there and earn for the family. So yeah, it doesn't stop the day after you retire. I'll literally be straight in that cabin.
It's such a theme though, Mark, isn't it? Because we've had Tim Laffey on recently, and that is kind of what tipped Tim over the edge, and thankfully he's actually rebuilt everything. But he's in Australia and around COVID, and his contracts get cancelled for whatever reason, and he can't provide. He's got 4 kids, 5 now, but 4 at the time, and it can tip you to that it's that. I mean, was it for you as well, the fact that you're thinking I can't provide for my kids, for my family, and so on? It as a man, you take a bit of a hit. There's a
lot of pressure on that for men or for whoever earns the bread in the family. I think you've got a responsibility to. I've got a responsibility to give my family a nice, safe, comfortable life, and I think our dads that did that for each of us, and I know I've got a responsibility to look after them. So I think if that's ever in jeopardy or under threat, it's just bound to kind of affect you in some way, and it's not a nice place to be in, I don't think.
Everyone needs a friend like Sam Tompkins, right?
Yeah.
Those little conversations can just be so powerful, and the fact that you even look back at it now and sort of credit him for that.
Yeah, he says he's one of my close mates, and I do speak to him probably most days. We had this on one of Sam Powell's. He's like, who do you speak to, like, from your team? I was like, I speak to Sam all the time, and Lockers is like saying BS. He's like, you don't speak to him all the time. I was like, I do. Like, even when he was in New Zealand, I was still chatting to him, like, just that friendship that it's just always been there, and I'm lucky enough to have him in my life.
I guess it's also people that listen to you, right? They're not that just say this is what you should do. He would listen to you.
He'd listen and he'd understand him, and that's important. They know what you're like as a person, know what you're like as a rugby player, what you can bring to a team, and they give you unbiased advice because they just want the best for you.
Yeah. He'd tell me to shut the F up and like. Slap yourself in the face.
But I think you want sometimes, when things are down and dark, whatever, you want someone to, the way I've heard this put before is to kind of sit in the mud with you, sit in the shit with you, and actually just listen to you, rather than say, look, this is what you should do. And then you because only you can come to that decision yourself. You can have a million Sam Tompkins saying, look, go and sign for Leigh. go and get your fire back in your belly.
Sam Tompkins.
That'd be an interesting world,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Well, that'd be a lot of tattoos,
A better place or a worse place?
That'd be a better place, yeah.
Be a lot of facts.
Maybe not on that night with Sam and Joel and whatever happened. Do we know? Are you going to give us the full story on that?
On what?
Like, Sam and Joel went and...
Oh, they got in trouble in
the
that.
What was it? The arsehole of Wigan? No, what was the phrase?
Rectum of
Wigan.
Yeah. Apparently.
Great story.
So go on, because I'm glad you've got the smile back in your face and you're in the form that you're in now with Leigh. So how did that move come about for you?
I think Derek spoke to my agent and he was like, do you want to get out now? I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's get the ball rolling.
Would you taking anything at this point? Just to, the fact that when you decided you're going to go again, it's like, when you're making this decision, are you thinking, I've got something to prove, or is it to prove to yourself, or what's the thought process?
I just wanted to be in a team where I felt wanted. And the conversation I had with Derek and Lammy and Chesney was just like, yeah, it's good. They had a great, the team they had last year, with Fergal being in there, just people that I watched on telly, and you think, I'm going to be training with him next week. Yeah. Just the calibre of players they had, he's
a bit mad, isn't he?
He's bonkers, mate, yeah. But
good bonkers.
Yeah. But being in the team, I went there, me and Lammy had a conversation. I was like, I don't want to come straight from Super League. I don't want to walk straight into your team. I want to sit back. I want to find my love again for the sport, which Lammy understood. And me and Lammy had a good relationship. We still do. He'll say how it is, and he'll want the best out of you and the team. And I think the way we're playing, he's getting the best out of every individual that's in the team. And from 1 to 29 players, I think we've got. There's no, like I said, we were on about Wigan. Everyone's on the same page. There's no one taking a step forward or backwards. Everyone's riding this wave together, and I think we're enjoying each other's time.
So you just said it there yourself, finding the love for the game again, and like doing it slowly, right?
Yeah.
Because you've had to maybe do that a couple of times, even when you came back from Sale.
Yeah.
But describe the love affair for us now. What's your sort of feelings towards rugby league? Are you ripping their clothes off? Is it passionate? What is it like? How big is this love?
I've just got the buzz back. I'm enjoying it. I'm playing with a smile on my face. I'm, just finding like that. I'm coming to the end of my career now. I'm 31. 32 this year, and I'm thinking, right, I want to keep going. I'm feeling fit. I'm probably the fittest I've been probably most of my career, and I've still got a lot to give. So I want to keep going. And
can we touch on that? Because looking at you and having played against you, you do look leaner and probably as quick as you've ever been. I saw an interview with Lammy who said the same thing. You were ripping up trees in pre-season.
Yeah.
Have you taken a different approach to your career now? You're getting on a bit, because a winger, if he's not fast and in good shape, you're not playing.
Yeah.
So important, those physical attributes to be quick and agile. What have you done differently, or how has your mindset changed?
To be fair, pre-season I just did CrossFit. Most pre-season I'd do running, loads of running to get under my Bronco test, and I stayed off running. I just literally did CrossFit, and I come back way much fitter, way much stronger than I've ever done in all my career. So I don't know if it was, just different movements of moving a bar around, barbells. It was just something that I've never tried before, and I gave it a good going. But we had a good crew in pre-season. There was a few of the boys who were coming from Warrington, a few of the lads who was already at Leigh wanted to do CrossFit. So we had like a good little AM crew. So it was good to train with, and Sam Powell were there, Brad Singleton were there as well. So it was like a good mix of rugby lads just training together.
And Mark, you've watched him, because last season he was absolutely brilliant, and Leigh were as well, and surprised a lot of people. And this season he's absolutely flying again as we record this in 23.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the stats. I think you're leading try scorer in Super League, which is a testament to his finishing ability, but also a testament to that left edge at Leigh, because they play so much there. But obviously Josh takes all his opportunities. But more significantly for me, it's probably his backfield carries, and I think he's up there top one or few in terms of metres per game, or average metres per game, because the role of the modern day winger isn't just to score tries, it's to get his team on the front foot, and being such a big athletic man, he's able to do that. It's so important for teams to have wingers that can add that to the side and carrying the ball as well as finishing. So I think it's a testament to Josh's mindset that, having been in such a dark place last year, to be playing the way he's playing now is brilliant. And I was driving over today thinking of Ryan Giggs was really innovative towards the end of his career. He picked up yoga because he knew that his body probably wasn't able to do the stuff it used to do without some extra care and attention. And Josh's figure that he's in now is probably a testament to how he's looking after himself off the field and getting his sleep in with his whoop up and the CrossFit in the off season. I think you have a responsibility to be in the best shape you can be, and he's obviously doing that.
But that's fascinating to me because there was a point where you accepted going back to the building site, right, and you were going to be done at 29, 30.
Yep.
Whereas now you're going to do everything you can to gulp up every single second that you've got left, and maybe a few more years than you thought. You say you're coming towards the end.
Yeah.
Has that changed your mindset completely? And when is the end for you? You've still got 3 years at least, haven't you?
I hope so. I've got another year left at Leigh. I've got my testimonial next year. Then hopefully Derek will get the checkbook out and I'll sign
a big
2
checkbook,
more years.
to be fair, isn't it?
I hope.
Or a little suitcase of cash.
No.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, really good.
That'd be really
No,
nice.
but yeah, like I say, I'm feeling probably the best I've felt in years, and like with the Whoop, I'm monitoring things. I'm taking supplements that I've never took before, and I'm staying hydration. I'd never, drink 3-4 litres of water a day. Now I've got a bottle here. I'm sipping like electrolytes. It's just the 1%ers that I add into. I don't drink caffeine in the afternoon anymore. Mm-hmm. So
I listened to a podcast with, I think it was Dr. Tim Walker on Joe Rogan, and he's a sleep doctor. Matthew Walker, Tim's brother.
Yeah.
Get mixed up all the time. Anyway, he was saying how vital sleep is for longevity, healthy life, performance, cardiovascular fitness, a million things. It's really interesting. And I remember I think I texted Paul Wellens and said you should listen to this and show the Saints lads, because as a professional athlete, sleep and hydration is so important, and you're probably reaping all the benefits of that now.
Yeah, so like I say, I don't have caffeine in. So if I have coffee at 3 o'clock, I'll be still buzzing at 10. But now my cut-off's midday. Anything in the afternoon, because I like social coffee. After training, lads will go for coffee, have a decaf. Like, that's it. I don't do any caffeine, but like hydration, I'm doing as much as. I don't like drinking fizzy pop anymore. I'm big into my hydration.
I love that fizzy pop.
Yeah. I was bad on Diet Cokes. Like, you'd think, it's only Diet Coke, there's nothing in it. Yeah. But like, I'm watching what I'm eating. I'm like just trying to, it's just fine-tuning little things.
More so than ever, because the end's in sight.
Yeah, you've got to, I don't want to get injured, and, it's one of those where I'm trying to keep my body as healthy as possible and fit as possible and pull some couple more years out of these legs.
But I think even obviously you guys have always thought like that, or maybe not rugby league collectively as much, because you still want. And I've always said this to Mark. Just imagine, and obviously it wouldn't be the same game, but if no one drank alcohol at all and you didn't go out for these big old sessions on a Friday night after a Thursday game, or whatever, and it started again on Monday, what those marginal gains would be. I know you need them and so on, but I'm just thinking, even Joe Bloggs on the street now is wearing a Whoop. By the way, this podcast is not sponsored by Whoop, even though Mark is wearing one and Josh is wearing one. But if
we can get it sponsored if you want.
Yeah, we would like a sponsor if anyone wants to sponsor us.
Anyone will do. Even if it's Manchester Fish and Chips in Widnes, we'll take them as well. But I think there's been a mindset shift in just like me, like Joe Public. Everyone's thinking about REM sleeps all of a sudden. I'm taking AG1 athletic greens. We've all been sucked in by Huberman and by people like Rogan and whatever. But it's the mindset of thinking, I want to optimize something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, as soon as you get on board with something and it works, you think, why have I not done it? Like, we all like my supplements I'm taking more mushroom stuff. I'm like...
The magic kind.
No, not the magic stuff.
Microdosing.
Like, no, it's just like...
With a bit of garlic and black pepper.
Yeah, a bit of sea salt.
Helps absorption.
Yeah, but like, I'm just taking more supplements where I'm feeling the benefit for. Like, say, I'm taking stuff for my sleep. I'm taking stuff to get me into a deeper sleep, so my REM sleep's up. So I'm performing day after. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I don't know why. I'm just every morning I'm up. If I'm in green, yes, like sound. If I'm in yellow, I'm like, why am I in? I'm like, what have I done? So I'm always thinking.
Do you think back? I just wish I'd had this 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, possibly. Like, but when you're that young, you're not thinking about finishing.
You don't care, do you?
You don't. I was having Mackies before a game.
Mackies before a game.
Yeah, back used to. I used to Fanta Coke, like bottles of Fanta. Like I'd sup anything. But now I'm like, I can't have that 3 days before a game. I'll get a stitch.
What, in terms of Leigh and the way people have looked at them, and they've had their critics, haven't they, Mark, over the last couple of years? And obviously Derek's had his critics, a lot from former co-presenter of us, John Wilkin, God rest his soul. He's left the podcast now. If you're just tuning in, he's called out Derek for a fight, I think, a few times. Or I've tried to encourage that.
No, I don't think that happens.
Just on that, if there was to be a charity fight between Derek Beaumont and John Wilkin at Leigh Sports Village, who would obviously
he's a black belt, Derek.
Is he karate man?
Yeah.
He's a secret psychopath.
Oh, I don't think he's secret, but
it's not a secret. Yeah. So you reckon he'd mess John Wilkin up?
Kung fu someone, yeah.
Judo chop.
Yeah, he's black belt.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Black belts don't fuck about.
No, because we've had a lot of people calling people out on this podcast recently in terms of fights. Jeremy
I
Lattimore.
won't call Derek out.
No, we had Paul Vaughan called Jeremy Lattimore.
No, Jeremy Lattimore, an NRL player, called Paul Vaughan out on a different podcast, and then we asked him about it, and he just didn't really reply, did he?
I think Moz called someone out. Tim Laffite. It's become a bit of a theme this series.
No, they didn't. There's been
Encouraged
no calling
by me,
out.
maybe slightly to get.
There's been no
but
calling
what I'm
out.
getting to, Josh, is there anyone, if you just look down camera 3 there, is there anyone you'd like to call out?
No.
No.
I'm a loving bloke. I'm not.
He's a fisher, not a fighter.
Yeah.
But go on, in all seriousness, how have Leigh surprised people and proved them wrong?
Probably, we spoke about it. Team goes up, goes down. Like we spoke about, we don't want to be that team. We want the best for each other. I think everyone's working hard. You can see, if you watch the small details of our game, you'll see lads are scrambling for each other. If someone misses a tackle, there's someone there. There's no one switching off, which I think you get that in a team that wants the best for each other. And yeah, at first it was quite clunky because we're a new set of lads. It was 15 lads who'd just come into a team, coming from different backgrounds, different teams. It was one of those where Lammy brought us all together. We went away on a pre-season trip, and it just clicked and was like 6-7 weeks time, we're going to be an handful. It's taken a little bit longer. No, I think it was 8 weeks, and then the team started to turn up, and I think we're 5-6 games winning streak now. It's just one of those where we're building nicely, and yeah, I can see us we're going to compete this year.
It's different for you, isn't it? Because you've not necessarily been used to being an underdog in terms of mentality, right?
Yeah, I don't think we're not even taking that as we're respecting every team. People brought us off. We got wrote off beginning of the year. You're not going to win a game. That was one thing. There was like few that articles got pulled up, but we are a respectful team, and every week we show teams respect, and then we turn it on, and it's just the caliber of players that we've got in this team at the minute. It's pretty scary, to be fair.
I think they've got great players, but also a lot of leadership and a lot of character within the team. A lot of players that have been at big clubs and know what needs to be done to be successful. You got Jack Hughes, who was co-captain at Warrington, yourself, John Asiata, who's been a great player in the middle of the park, Ricky Latelli, Tom Briscoe. They've got really good players, but also lads who've been in those winning environments. So I think that's one thing. And secondly, they absolutely pissed the Championship last year because they took it seriously and they built a good squad last year. They didn't cut corners and just get up and then have to completely revitalise the squad. They already had some good foundations to build on, and I think it's those two things that are why they've been so successful. And credit to Leigh off the field as well, because they've really promoted their game. They're trying new things, the kit, the new name change.
Scouting for girls.
Something you like doing on a Saturday night, Will?
Oh, yeah.
Used to.
Don't tell a girlfriend. Oh, I haven't got one anymore.
You haven't got one anymore. But I think they've really taken it seriously, and they're doing different things, and they're very innovative. And every credit to Derek and the board there for doing what they're doing.
He wants to put on a show, doesn't he? I mean, in every sense, he's got no. He's more than happy to walk around in a leopard suit.
Yeah.
And
he wears that anyway, doesn't he? He loves leopard print.
Yeah, he's.
I wonder what he wears when it's really sort of when the cameras really aren't on. Like
He's
in that basement, what he wears.
He's very passionate about the name change. So when he took us all to Ibiza,
Did he?
Mad Monday last year, yeah.
Hold on, this is the story we should have started the show with.
Yeah, should have had an hour on
We had
this.
a good talk about. He said there's going to be a big change in the club. Like ever since he's had it, there's been nothing. It's just been. And like getting the vibe out of him, you could see his mindset. He was thinking like the bigger picture, and the way he's promoting the team. And if you drive down to the stadium, I don't know if you've drove towards Leigh Sports Village. Derek's got like being the raw at every other lamppost. Like driving to the stadium, it's like it's a buzz. Like
Has he got a sort of Mike Tyson in him? Does he own leopards as well?
Yeah, he's got a ranch out in South Africa.
He actually does that.
Yeah. He rescues them. Yeah.
Wow.
So like I say he's very passionate about it, and there's a story behind the Leopards. So he's we need more people like Derek in Super League. The way he's branching out.
He's invested off the field rather than just on the field.
Yeah.
You've got to do both.
He's chucking money at game days. Like I don't think we've had an event on every home game. Like he's gone from scouting to girls to can't be waiting on the to POW. Like there's so many names that he's still throwing out the bag, and I think
that's coming out of his own pocket, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that, does he?
No. Like the firework display he puts on, like you don't have to do that, but like it's a spectacle.
The pre-match entertainment for the first game was like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was mad, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had to train at Leigh Miners. We had to walk
While they built the stage.
5 minutes, because he had fire girls, he had scouting for girls, like. But you want that. You want.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
Yeah, you want people who aren't rugby fans going, oh, scouting for girls at Sports Village, only 20 quid for a ticket, and we get to watch rugby.
Hold on, let's rewind to Ibiza. Like the idea that my head's going places.
Yeah.
Like
Let's go back to Ibiza.
Derek Bowman off his nut in DC10 with Jamie Jones or something. Like,
it took us all to Ibiza. It was in Hard Rock. We were just sat around the pool in Hard Rock at Cafe, and he was just like, this is what's going to happen. Like, and I was like, mate, I like the idea of it, but how far is it going to go? And he's going, I'm going to push it. Like, people aren't going to like it, but they'll love it.
Fair play.
And then, right at the beginning, the name change. Oh, I don't like it. But I think it's the best ever shirt sales I've ever had.
Is it?
Yeah. So like,
Looks like
there's
Pat
method
Butcher's
behind his
designed
madness.
it.
Yeah,
But I like it.
Yeah, mate, like I said, we need more owners, investors.
Because talk's
like
cheap,
him.
innit? And he's backing it up with actions, which is...
And booking scouting for girls is not cheap, I'd imagine, as well. Like, no wonder all these stars are joining the Leigh Leopards. Like, trips to Ibiza, and I'm on board. I mean, in terms of getting a crew on board, we're going to Ibiza, we can do what we like, and then when you're back, you give me everything. It works like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, so he come in a few weeks ago, and he said, like, you achieve this, you get this out of it. If you achieve this, you get this out of it. So he comes in and puts it on the table for us. So it's just us now just to stick to the plan. And if we get to the end goal, God knows where he's going to take us. But
Vegas?
That got shouted last year, but it was too far, yeah.
I'd rather go Ibiza than Vegas anyway. He wants to sit in a casino with a bunch of sweaty old men putting money into slot machines.
Ibiza was good.
But it was.
Really
I want the
good,
real stuff. Let's do Out of Your League extra. Talk about
extra.
Extra. When you've retired, come and tell us the real stories of what happened in that fateful week in Ibiza. So I imagine with seeing the smile on your face now and talking about Leigh, and I can see your body language changes. You kind of, do you notice that, Mark? You probably don't pick up on a lot of things, do you?
No, I pick on lots.
He sort of was a bit like, when he's talking about Sale and a bit like this at Warrington. And, don't mention Daryl Powell's name, and now he's all out there and open and so on. You feel like you want to give them as much of Josh Charnley as possible because they've given you this chance.
Yeah,
you want to finish your career there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they've given me opportunity to come back and enjoy the sport again, and the way that we're putting ourselves out there, in the rugby league world, it's a credit to the whole team, and I'm just enjoying my time as a player again, and if I can help out with any way or possible with, like I say, the young kids who are coming through at Leigh, I'm just trying to pass on what I've learned off past players.
When you look back at your career, do you have regrets at all?
No. Like I said to you before, I'd have had regrets if I didn't move to Sale. I would have had regrets if I didn't, move on different places, do different things. So no, I've done it. I'm happy with what I've done and my decisions I've made.
Got the T-shirt. Who is on the front of that T-shirt, Mark?
It's just represents.
Is that not him from Thunderbird? Thunderbird.
It's my mate's brand.
Thunderbirds.
Not Thunderbirds. Who am I thinking of? Thundercats.
Who's
the evil guy in Thundercats? You're too young, you two.
I'm too young.
We're too young.
I was
watched Noddy.
I'm asking the regret question not sort of as a loaded one because I'm just now going to ask you about England, but having been involved with England and put that shirt on, am I right in saying you were in the kind of initial squad for the home World Cup, and then obviously didn't play? What was that like? That news to take when Sean Wayne had to make that call to you, and how did that happen?
I just saw it that I got put in there, but nothing really come about of it. I know there was Tommy Makerson. There's younger players than me who were playing at the top of their game, so I weren't too peed off really. I was I've played there, I've done it. I've got my cap. You'd like to represent your team, your country at the end of the year, but I weren't mad or anything. I was just good to get the recognition again.
But do you not look back and think you should have played more for England, given your record and your numbers in Super League? I mean, Mark, do you not think you should have? Was it 8 caps you got for England, which is still 8 more than a lot of people get?
But there's like 2 or 3 fixtures every year. You spent a good couple of years in Union, and then the competition for wing spots is really tough, isn't it?
Really strong.
So he's as good as any of them, but it's one of them. It's timing, it's injuries, it's who's scoring tries, who's getting on the end of stuff. Wing plays a lot to do with, if in the context of scoring tries, is how much space is created inside you. So there's a lot that goes into it, but to be in the mix with Hall, Makinson, McGilvery for that long is what he's done, and he could have done more, but I think you'd be happy with what you've done.
Yeah, I'm happy to say I've no regrets. The competition's strong, and I think there was one year where I didn't really score as many tries as the players. I think Wayne did say it's because you're not really getting across the whitewash. I think it was 2019 or 2018, one of those years. 2019, I think it was. It was like I didn't really score many tries. I'm going to score 4 tries in a year or 3, and it was like he rung me. He was like, "Yeah, you're not really. I'm performing, but I'm not performing as to my best abilities."
Just a final thought as well. Do you feel that you sort of somehow misunderstood by a lot of people, maybe even some fans or whatever? And I just think this. We've had Zach Hardacre on this podcast, and he said yes. And you remember when Zach came on, and obviously he's had a lot of controversies and things in the back, and we haven't even gone into any of Josh. We don't know about them, Mark. There may have been things that we don't know. That was your job. It's a good cop, bad.
You said that. I'd dig some shit up on Josh. And
you're supposed to go there, and I'll, we'll get this next time.
We'll never do that.
But do you feel, is there an element where you feel a little bit misunderstood by, even if it's coaches and people? Because, the first impressions, people see you, people see the tattoos, people see, they probably have a different impression of what you're going to be like.
Yeah, I think so. I think they probably think I'm dead cocky and like overconfident, but I'm total opposite. I'm quite reserved, and I'm not really. I don't really open my mouth. I do things by action, not by words, and yeah, I think I am. I think so. Anyway, I don't.
You don't care though, do you?
No, I'm not bothered. I've had it all my career. I've been heckled off the fans. Like it doesn't really faze me.
What's the best heckle you've ever had?
I get gypsy still.
Do you?
Yeah, I had it at the weekend. I still got in my Instagram archive. There's about 5 or 6 ones.
Why gypsy?
I don't know. It was Widnes who started that.
Was it?
Yeah.
But you've never had whips, gypsy.
No.
Yeah, it's probably because I had curly hair, tats. But then I played on it. I bought a caravan.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So
was that mullet stage?
No, I didn't have a mullet. I had just my hair was
curls,
really curly.
The Charnley curls.
So if you bought a caravan,
so I bought a caravan, then I was like, yeah, play on this a little bit.
He's fishing. They think, oh yeah.
He's always watching Snatch.
Yeah. Always got a flat cap on.
Yeah.
Actually, the more you say it, the more I can say it. Yeah. Josh, absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thanks,
We've never met before. And I really, what I'd love about this podcast is that we get people who can sit on the couch and have an open and honest conversation with people that you don't really know. I know you two were teammates, but that's kind of what makes it. You could sit here and bat things away. So thanks so much, mate. And it's so good to see you back doing what you love and scoring tries, and hopefully for a few more years to come.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Paul.
Good man. Well done to you, Mark, as well. I always say that at the end, like you're a guest.
It's so patronising, and well done to you for
just to give you that
saying a few
little
bits.
boost for the next one. So you think like, I did well.
Ego boost. Thanks. I feel great now.
Yeah, and if Whoop do want to sponsor the podcast, Mark, just one final appeal.
Just a bicep.
Do it.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Don't forget to give us a little follow at Out of Your RL on social media. It sounds rude when I say it, doesn't it? At Out of Your RL.
And 5
out of your
stars.
RL. Yeah, out of your RL.
And 5 stars.
What? 5 stars.
5
yeah.
stars.
5 stars minimum review. See you next time. Bye.